Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nate the Effing Great here for the Squared Circle Podcast, Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, Turnbuckle Productions on YouTube, IW Nerd, as well as KCAT Community Radio. Got a lot to talk about. We got an interview coming up today with the lovely Aria Blake from ACW. Guys, it is going to be an amazing, tremendous show, and there's no way that this could possibly just go without a hitch. There's no possible way. What the? Okay, folks, I didn't plan this. Random songs playing.
Hello, Nate.
Oh, God, kill me now. Is that you, Zach?
Hello.
Oh, Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, from Pro Wrestling Off Topic, the self-proclaimed greatest podcast in central Wisconsin today, it's Zach, the wrestling guru, Hagen Butcher. Oh, God.
That was my fan club. They're all watching, actually, right now.
Oh, really? They are?
They're in the room with me, and it's insane. It's frankly insane how... all right. I've been thinking about this for a long time. Since you laid down your goddamn challenge to me, we're gonna go one-on-one one more time for Trivia Mania, Super Slam, Super Challenge, Epic, whatever you want to call it, Ultimate Challenge at Lincoln 2016. But before we do that, I get one more shot at your precious Squared Circle Heavyweight Championship. One, your fucking friends, your cronies, they didn't mention that once on their show. They didn't mention once that their championship is well, it's been endangered, frankly, by you. I just want you to know that. Mm-hmm. This is all on your shoulders. If I win the Squared Circle Championship again, it's gone. The lineage is destroyed. I throw it in the trash. I set the trash can on fire. It explodes in we'll make a YouTube video. Maybe then you can put it on your Squared Circle Productions.
Oh, jeez.
Of your belt being destroyed. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. You exposed your championship to me once again, and now I'm going to scoop it up off the ground, and that's it. That's the end of the Squared Circle Podcast Heavyweight Championship. So I hope that you're happy, and I hope your friends are happy too. You had the chance to walk away, Nate. You had the chance. You had the chance to let them take their shot at me. That's all I ask. I've already beaten you twice. I don't need to beat you again. But I will.
You smug, arrogant bastard. You know what? I am looking forward to when we finally meet up at Lincoln again, and you would be surprised at what's going to happen. But you know something? I am guessing that you are only here because, unfortunately, my cronies, as you like to call them, forgot to mention that you have some predictions that you have to make. Because I was aware of the deal. I knew what I was getting myself into with this whole entire deal. I knew that I had to do whatever it takes to get a shot at you one more time. I'm going to make it count. But you know something?
You went over their heads, Nate. You've given me the shot without their presence here. Honestly, you know what? I think they're dodging me. That's what I think. I think they're dodging me. I've already ripped them apart verbally, piece by piece, time and time again on this show. So they're lucky that they're not here. They're little smug asses. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm ready to make my predictions, and I hope you are too.
Well, I've already made my predictions with SoCal Val yesterday, but I'm more than willing to...
Well, fine. Whatever. It just goes to show how much I listen.
Yeah. Not even going to get into that. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off right now. Get into the matches.
I'm going to start from the... I don't understand why, but your jokers, your cronies decided to do the main events basically right up top. That's not how you do a wrestling show. You go from the undercard up to the bottom. So let's start with they did start with the pre-show, so I'll start with the pre-show.
All right.
Best 7 series. Cesaro versus Sheamus, my God, a.k.a. Best of my patience series. They're going to do this match 7 times. Cesaro wins the first one. There.
All right.
Yeah. Sami Zayn and Neville versus the Dudleys. I see no reason why Sami Zayn and Neville will not win, so I believe that they will. And then the Dudleys probably break up, and they let Bubba Ray do something. I don't know. Big SmackDown tag. Face team wins when the American Alpha. I think it's American Alpha, the Hype Bros, and damn it, I had this. I don't even remember.
And the Usos.
That's it. The Usos. They've been off TV for so long. I was like, who else is part of that?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, the Usos. There we go. Those guys, they win because, again, the heel team is literally just a bunch of fucking geeks. So, nobody cares. The women's match.
Which one?
By the way, one. It's the women's match. Your cronies referred to them as divas. They haven't been divas for months. It's the women's match. Have some fucking respect. But I believe the face team will win. Naomi, Carmella, and Becky. I think that the prediction of Nikki Bella becoming or coming back to be a part of the heel team is a little off, because I think that she's not going to come back as a heel.
You never know.
I believe that would be incorrect. That if you're bringing her back, there's no reason to make her a heel. She's coming off injury. Who knows? I don't know. I guess you never know. This company is stupid, but I'm going to say that Becky and the rest of the face women get the win here.
All right.
The Miz versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental title. I think The Miz retains. Apollo Crews, they just have not done a good enough job with him of giving him any kind of real legitimacy. And yes, you can build legitimacy off a championship win, but The Miz has one of the stronger characters on SmackDown right now, as much as I fucking hate it. And I think that they're going to keep the belt with him because they don't have that many heels winning on the show. Jericho versus Enzo and Cass. Jericho gets the win because I believe that the New Day defeats the club for the tag team championships, and you put Jericho in a tag team title feud with the New Day. Sasha versus Charlotte. Sasha retains over Charlotte because there'd be no reason to switch the belt back. Roman versus Rusev. Roman reigns. Spears Rusev 1, 2, 3. The end of Rusev, forever, I guess, as a main eventer. Even possibly imagining him as one, because he's just going to get buried. Cena versus AJ Styles. I think AJ wins, because everybody says Cena. Oh well, he's leaving to film American Grit, and yeah, that is true. But I think he just wins anyway. It doesn't make any sense to have. I think that they are doing a very good job of dialing down Cena as the guy, and this would solidify the fact that he is not a world championship contender anymore. AJ Styles will be, so AJ goes over.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, as much as I would have liked to have picked it differently from Max and Spencer on this one, I've decided to pick Finn Balor, only because having him as the first Universal Champion, it definitely makes a statement that this is the new era of Raw, blah, 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 blah. And Seth Rollins, it's going to be close. I'm not saying that Seth couldn't... I don't know. It's difficult to say, but I think that if you beat Finn Balor, then it just doesn't... It doesn't help Finn Balor in the future. Then Finn would get thrown right back down to the bottom of the card. Seth is already over, so there's no point to beat Seth here, or to beat Finn here. I think Balor is the first Universal Champ. Ambrose and Ziggler for the World Championship. Ambrose wins. No problems there. Ziggler, yeah, he had a promo on SmackDown this past week, which I watched. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, no. You're a goddamn geek. You're a goddamn geek, and you've been a geek for years, so who cares?
Takes a geek to know a geek, Zach.
funny. Ambrose wins, and finally, Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. What is sure to be a very entertaining match. I believe that I've heard people predict that Goldberg is going to make some sort of appearance in this match. I think that that's way off. I think that there's absolutely no way that Bill Goldberg steps in a WWE ring to quote-unquote compete, to work a match again. And I think that it's made very clear. I mean, Macho Man Randy Savage did a THQ deal back before he passed away for WWE All-Stars. He did advertisements for the game. And that was just through THQ. THQ has the ability to make these agreements separately. They made the agreement with Sting separately. They made the agreement with Ultimate Warrior separately. Yes, those guys did wind up coming back into the fold, so to speak, afterwards, and that was sort of the bridge. But Bill Goldberg he's too old. He was never that good of a worker to begin with. It would be ridiculous. And you already missed your window. When you had WrestleMania in Atlanta, that probably would have been the best time. So I'm going to say there's no way Bill Goldberg works in WWE again. It's very tough, but I do think that Randy Orton wins this match to project him into something different on SmackDown, simply because he's at this time when they have both of these shows that they're trying to build people for, and they seem to be trying to make things better from a television standpoint. Putting over Brock on a guy that he will not compete with again, in the near future, because they're in separate shows, just doesn't seem. I think that Brock, with the drug test failure and everything, he's not subject to the wellness policy. But I think it's more of a power play by Vince to kind of say, hey, now we know you really don't have any other option but to come here. So I'm going to say that Orton goes over. And that is the card.
Yeah, all right. So you made your predictions. Spencer's made his predictions. Max made his predictions. Tomorrow, it's all or nothing. Either the lineage of the Squared Circle podcast remains intact. Well, I guess that's hard to say if Spencer wins, because then it's just going to be that much more of a joke. Or it dies with Zachary Hagenbush. You guys do not want to miss out on that. Zach, as much as it pains me to say this, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for making your predictions for tomorrow.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your oh-so-busy schedule to finally get me on your show, even though here we are in the midnight hour, the final hour of being able to get these predictions in, the final day. You waited so long, you pushed it off, and here we are. I listened to your prediction episode. Let me tell you, you guys are on a lot of channels, huh? You got a lot of distribution venues. That's a hell of a handful at the beginning of your podcast there.
Mm-hmm.
I really, truly hope that I can win this championship so that, I don't know, we can just end the debate. I don't think there is a debate. I think our podcast is the better podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Our podcast is more intelligent. I think our podcast is better conversation between two people who've been watching wrestling for a very long time. And I think that this little game that we're playing here is going to prove it all tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short, quick break. When we come back, we will have Aria Blake on the show. I need to get a bit of an Advil, or at least some ibuprofen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with the Squared Circle podcast. Circle podcast. It is indeed SummerSlam series here on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, Turnbuckle Productions on YouTube, IW Nerd, as well as KCAT Radio. Sorry about the long intro deal, but we have a very special guest here on the show today. From the American Combat Wrestling, we have the women's champion. And again, guys, if you get a chance, use the hashtag #SupportIndieWrestling. They are just amazing, and they have indeed done so much for us. We have with us here the lovely Aria Blake. Aria, thank you for joining us here on the show today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It is honestly just an honor and a privilege to have you here.
Aww.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself, just so that we kind of have an idea about, your background, your upbringings, and how you became the wrestler that you are today.
I'm 22. I started in the business when I was 19 as a ring girl, so sitting ringside, taking jackets, all that kind of stuff. And then a couple months after doing that, I started training with Jay Lethal at the Uproar Pro Wrestling Academy. It's the same company that I was ring girling for. And ever since then, it's just gone by so quickly, but I just learned everything over the last couple years from him. Recently, within the last couple months, started working more shows, getting to expand my horizons a little bit. So that's been good.
Oh, definitely. Jay Lethal, as everybody knows, the former Ring of Honor World Champion. I know that's a little bit of a salt in the wound. Sorry, Jay, if you're listening to the show. Tell us, the training that Jay Lethal kind of put you through, because I know every person trains differently. How does Jay Lethal differ from a lot of other people that have trained?
I love training with him because he's not there to just, be a trainer that's like, okay, well, I can do this. I expect you to do this and kill us with drills and blow up exercises and workouts and stuff. He's very focused on, us and what we specifically want to learn. There's some of us that are more powerhouses. There's smaller people like me, flippy people. And he just listens to everybody as an individual really well. And we all started the same, learning the basics, running the ropes, chain wrestling, all that stuff. And from there, we all grew into our own with his help.
How many people are usually in each training group, I guess, at Jay Lethal's wrestling school?
When we first started, there was 5 of us. I think the next group maybe had 7, 8. So I'd say no more than that per group. I think we've had about 4 different groups, but now it's we all just kind of train together. I know he's taking on some new students in the next couple weeks or so, but for now it's everybody just went from being in their separate groups to we're all kind of just one group and we'll train together when we can.
Now, how did you get into the sport of wrestling, and what was the one defining moment that made you say, this is what I want to do, this is what I see myself doing in the next 10 years?
When I was 14, so I think late 2008, my younger brother was watching SmackDown, and I happened to just be in his room while it was on, so I just started paying attention to it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. It's not as cheesy or corny as it could have been. And so I started watching that, and then I remember on that episode I saw my first women's match, and it was Michelle McCool versus I think Victoria. And I was like, okay, the girls can go too. It's not just them being eye candy, and because those 2 girls in particular, they're so amazing. So it was really good for me to watch and kind of see them as my first women's match, and that kind of just showed me oh, I can do this. And then it just clicked. I was like, this is what I need to do.
Were Victoria and Michelle kind of the people that you want to kind of mold yourself into, or were there other women that kind of stood out to you that really made you think, I want to kind of be like this person, or I want to be kind of like this person?
Right. With that match, I think it was Victoria's last match with WWE. So I didn't really get to see a whole lot of her because I wasn't really watching TNA at the time after. But Michelle's great. Beth Phoenix was always really fun to watch because she's not your standard diva. She's, more jacked. She can do the bigger powerhouse moves. Natalia's great. She's still there, and I still love watching her. They're both really big inspirations. Definitely.
Do you get a chance to see the Women's of Honor, Ring of Honor deal that they do, and how they've been kind of working. Well, I guess how they've been doing their deal with their women's division.
Yeah, I've seen it.
What do you think about them compared to, say, WWE?
Compared to WWE now, I mean, it's when I started watching wrestling in WWE, the women's division wasn't really anything to like harp home on like it is now. But I mean, they're both great in their own right. Women of Honor is like relatively new, I'd say, like at least being a consistent thing, you know. So it's really fun to watch. Both divisions have like super talented women, and I'm really excited to see what they do with both of the divisions.
Oh, definitely. You mentioned that you were a little bit more fast-paced, flips, bumps, and I'm guessing you're more of a bit of a high flyer in that sense.
I'm trying to be, yeah. Like I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get past like the mental block of all that a little bit. But given my size and agility, that's kind of what I want to go more towards.
What do you mean by mental block?
Like flipping and stuff, like it can get nerve-wracking.
Right.
Like it's risky.
Okay.
So. Okay. But it's definitely what I want to work on.
So you want to kind of do like moonsaults, 450, stuff like that?
Yeah, that would be fun. I think our new training center, we're gonna get like some crash pads soon, so I definitely want to start working on it.
All right. Well, that would be pretty awesome to see. How do you feel about WWE bringing back the Cruiserweights and the Cruiserweight Classic?
I'm so excited for it. Obviously, when I started watching wrestling, it wasn't like the Cruiserweight title was still around or anything, but I've gone back and watched it, and I love that style of wrestling because it's really cool to watch, you know, the bigger superstars go at it with all their power moves, but the Cruiserweights, I just like, it's more fast-paced, it's more flippy, it's more stuff that really just catches my eye, so I'm really excited for that.
Who do you think's going to win the entire thing?
Oh, wow.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
I know. I'm friends with Rich Swann, so I think that he would be a good pick to win it all, but it's so hard to say because they're all so different, but so freaking talented.
Yeah, I think that one of the guys that they're really emphasizing on is Kota Ibushi. I think that
for sure.
He seems like he's going to be one of those guys that might go all the way. I know a lot of people are saying backstage, well, him and Zack Sabre Jr., they tried offering the two of them contracts, but there's a chance that they might not because they want to be they don't want to be tied down. I think they want to kind of be more part-timers coming in whenever they need them, and then more for the they want to be more known around the world about that. But let me ask this: if given the opportunity by WWE to sign a full-time contract, would you go in that direction, or would you go with a more part-time and still do independent bookings?
I would, if the time was right and I felt comfortable with where I was in my career and I did get offered a full-time contract, I would absolutely take it. Because that's, from day one, just been my ultimate goal. But I don't know. I like where I'm at right now working on the independents because I am so new and I still have a ton to learn. So I want to learn more and better my craft before I go to such a big stage, if I ever do.
Definitely. Speaking of independents, we were talking a little bit before the show. Talk a little bit about American Combat Wrestling because I'm more familiar with Combat Zone Wrestling, and they're brutal to say the least. But what is American Combat Wrestling, and how do they differ from a lot of independent organizations?
I've been with them for about a year and a half. I got brought in as a valet, and then this year started having my own singles matches. But compared to companies like CZW, I mean, CZW is insane. Like, I don't think anywhere does the type of stuff that they do. But for us, I mean, we just introduced the Women's Championship. We're getting a combat title. So right now on our Thursday shows, we're doing different rounds to see who's going to go to the finals for that belt. And it's cool because with that, they're doing different stipulation matches, all that kind of fun stuff. But what I really like is that we're part of the WWN family. So that's just a really good place to be. We have amazing people overseeing our operations, and helping us put everything together and giving us a really great platform to just do what we love.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Women's Championship because that's the perfect segue to the fact that you are indeed the ACW Women's Champion. I remember you posting about how, the sacrifices you've had to make and everything that you've done to get to that point. Talk about the match itself when you were competing for the Women's Championship and just the emotion, the roller coaster of emotions I'm imagining you had to go through and finally reaching that final point of, the 1, 2, 3 and realizing I'm the champ now. Holy cow.
I know, yeah. Well, it's funny because I actually didn't know that it was going to be a championship match until like a little bit before the match. And then we didn't have the actual belt present, but the plan was the following week we'll introduce the belt, do a whole ceremony, and then from there bring in different opponents. But so before I was just planning on having like just a regular non-title match, blah blah blah. But then they're like, "Oh, just kidding, it's a title match." So I like legit cried, like I teared up, and I was like, "No way! Like, are you serious? Is this a joke?" Because I've been telling them for so long, like months and months now. I'm like, hey, we need a women's title. We need a women's title. And then to finally realize that we're getting one is amazing. But to know that when I won it, I was just like really like in shock. It still doesn't really feel real because I'm like, it's what I've worked so hard towards. And it's all coming true, really.
So I guess you kind of felt like Paige when she won the Divas Championship the night after WrestleMania, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of actually how it did feel. So.
As far as women that you have worked with, who's been somebody that you've really loved working with in the ring, and who's somebody that you would like to really work in the future?
In the future, I'd say, well, my dream opponent would be Sasha Banks. I think she's so talented and so brave. But as for the girls that I've wrestled, like I really loved working Dominique Fabiano when she was down here. That was awesome. We had a couple different matches, and every single one of them, I had like no problems with at all. She was so easy to work with, and everything just looked really great. I loved working with Brittany Blake when she came down to Florida. That was really fun because we're the same size, but we were both willing to do like some of the more risky stuff. It was the first time I ever did a crossbody from the top onto the outside, so that was fun. Those girls were awesome. I recently worked Violet Payne, who's actually, when I first started as a ring girl, she was the first indie girl that I met. So it was really cool 2.5 years later having a title match against her.
Now, as a ring girl, did you only do like pure like wrestling events, or were you all ever a ring girl for like UFC, mixed martial arts? I should say. I shouldn't make it exclusively UFC.
No, I just did for pro wrestling, just ring girling there.
Okay. How do you feel about mixed martial arts?
I haven't really watched a ton of it up until recently. I've only gotten into it. I mean, it's intense. I definitely like watching it, but I'm not sure if it's something that I could ever do.
Do you think that you would ever consider possibly maybe changing your moves up to something more striking style, or are you more focused on just being one of those women that does, like you said, the crossbodies on the outside, the moonsaults and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I do incorporate a lot of kicks into my moves. Like, that's when I'm not doing the other stuff, I really like to keep it more of a kick-based offense. So I have that, but I'm actually friends with Lindsay Snow, who is a wrestler, but she also does jiu-jitsu. So I've kind of been asking her to help me out with different holds, stuff like more based on MMA, so I could like expand my style. So she's been helping me a little bit, and I definitely do want to learn more, but I don't know if I could ever just like full out be like a shooter.
Okay. Yeah, I think that it's important in any kind of business, whether it be wrestling business or financial business, retail, wherever you go. It's always good to have that adaptability, because then you don't have to worry about something getting jumped in on. Like somebody, like you said with the women's championship match, they just told you, oh, you're going to have a women's title match. It's like, really? It's one of those things. So like if somebody says like, oh, we're going to change a regular matchup to say like a street fight, just being able to say, that's not going to be a problem for me, or go from that to a submission style. Be like, okay, so I would have to change things up a bit, learn how to do, just remember, cross arm breakers, chokeholds, stuff like that. But when it comes to adaptability, how much does it differ, like in wrestling, than it does in, I guess everyday life?
It's interesting because not to sound like creepy or anything, but I feel like I have kind of like two different lives. It's like I have my personal life because I'm in school, so I have all that, my work life, my friends from both of those, and then it's like I turn on and there's wrestling and my wrestling friends and training and doing everything I can with that. So it's given the situation, like kind of depends on like the hat that I'm wearing that day. I can adapt to it pretty well, but it can be a struggle.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Did you ever finish high school before getting into wrestling?
I did, yeah. I graduated high school when I was 17 and started wrestling at 19.
Wow, jeez Louise. Talk about being an overachiever. I had to wait until I was 18 before I got my diploma. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, graduation was, like, 2 months before my birthday, so, I mean, like, kind of almost 18.
Okay. Wow. Talk about a big time party. I mean, it's like going from high school graduation to birthday. It's like, well, you might as well just combine them both together, so that way.
Yeah, right.
Did you ever have any plans to do anything outside of wrestling? Did you ever have like another career path in case you might think, oh, this is not for me?
Well, like I said, I'm still in school. I'm going to finish my bachelor's degree in journalism and media studies in May. So, I mean, like, I joke around and call it, like, my very expensive backup plan, like, if wrestling doesn't work.
Okay. So kind of like how you kind of went the route of Chris Jericho, because I know he went to get his, like, degree in journalism while he was wrestling quite a bit. So, who knows? We might be witnessing the new female Chris Jericho here in Aria Blake.
Whoa.
I'm not trying to put put pressure on you, but I think it'd be cool. Well, actually, the only thing you probably have to do nowadays is just call people stupid idiots. But
Yeah.
but you'll probably have to change it up a little bit to just
I'll come up with something.
well, if you're ever facing a blonde, all you have to say is dumb blondes or bimbo stuff like that.
Yeah.
Feel free to take that. I don't copyright or anything like that.
I'm that idea.
But honestly, do you have any other hobbies outside of wrestling? Do you do like movie going? Do you do scrapbooking, stuff like? Okay, I know scrapbooking was probably one of the lamest ones I could pick, but
Honestly, I have so much going on that when people ask me this, I'm like, oh god, like, but I spend a ton of time in the gym. I love working out. I love everything health and fitness. I am trained in makeup, so I like spending a lot of time just playing with that, watching makeup-related stuff, and really just sleeping, because that's kind of like all I really have time for.
New T-shirt: eat, sleep, makeup, repeat.
Yeah, right.
Well, when you mention makeup, are you talking more like fashion makeup, or are you talk like I guess special effects kind of makeup like they see in movies, stuff like that?
More like fashion stuff.
Okay.
I have played around with special effects before, but I am self-taught. I started watching makeup videos when I was like probably 12, and then I used to work at Sephora, so I learned a lot there.
Okay.
So I like more fashion makeup, but I do like getting creative with it. I just haven't really ventured over to the creativity of special effects yet.
Well, I think as long as most of the girls don't look like, Catwoman, then I think you're going to be totally fine. Do you get a chance to watch a lot of the, well, you mentioned you do a lot of, stuff, so it probably limits a lot of your, free time. But when you do have that free time, other than sleep, do you like to do anything else? Have you seen, like, some of the movies that have come out this year?
I just saw Suicide Squad last week.
Oh, how good was that movie?
It was so good. Like, I'm a huge Harley Quinn fan. I actually dressed up as her for Halloween 2 years ago. Like, I'm obsessed with her, so I definitely loved the movie.
Are you going to probably bring the Harley Quinn character into one of your wrestling matches, if given the opportunity?
I know that when we have a show in late October near Halloween, we're talking about doing something more like spooky decor, like Halloween themed type of matches and stuff. So I want to get as much wear out of my costume as possible. So I'm like, we need to have like some kind of costume match or something.
All right. Well, costume match, nothing even close to like a bra and panties match, right?
Hell no.
Okay. Okay. I just had to make sure. I'm sure people back in the day, they would have enjoyed that, but I'm sure people nowadays are just like, oh, so they're basically giving us what we can get on the internet for free? What the heck? Something like that. How do you feel about so many movies just getting like remade? Because I know they've been doing that for years now. They've remade a lot of Disney movies. They've remade a lot of action movies. How do you feel about them kind of remaking and kind of recycling?
I think it's cool when it's done well. Like you said with the Disney movies, like when they did, like obviously I've seen the animated like Cinderella, and then they came out with the live action one. Like that was really cool. But I don't know. Sometimes it can just be overkill. It's kind of like not everything needs to be remade. Not everything needs a sequel and a third movie and so on and so forth. So I'd say it depends project to project.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples of like just horrible remakes was the I don't mean to scare you. The Nightmare on Elm Street with Robert Englund is like one of my all-time favorite horror movies of all time.
Right.
And when they remade this newer one, they changed so much of it. They changed how the character looked. They changed his motivation. And I just thought, I had higher standards to this. But then again, it's Robert Englund. So there's not much that, meets the eye. When it comes to, like I said, when it comes to Freddy Krueger, nobody beats Robert Englund and how well he just did it off. And I'm thinking that if they do another one of those remakes, again, Robert Englund's going to be a hard person to kind of top, I guess you could say.
Right, yeah. Like when it comes to that, like movies that are classics, it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't redo them, but because I feel like you just can't do it better the second time.
Well, actually, it was crazy. I was looking at some weird poster at work, and I saw one that said Blair Witch coming out September. I'm like, you're seriously going to try to remake the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
Apparently, that's called like the greatest horror movie of all time. There's no way you're going to top it. No way.
Right? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is what it isn't. Hollywood needs to make money somehow. They ran out of creativity, but...
I guess.
Who are some of the other organizations that you work with in the independent scene?
So my main home company now is ACW, of course. Last year I went up to Jacksonville, worked for USWA. I did a Sparkle showcase before Shine 30 last October.
Nice.
I've been traveling more to I Believe in Wrestling in Orlando and working with them as often as I can. And I started on FIP forever ago, like just valeting, and I had a match there a couple months ago, so that was cool.
Yeah, it seems like Florida is kind of the breeding ground for a lot of independent wrestlers or wrestlers in total. I mean, you got NXT down there. You got so many other organizations such as... sorry about that. Somebody was actually calling... Well, this is... Again, ladies and gentlemen, hashtag Skype sucks. Right now, I had... Why can't I just... the same person calls me again. I think
You're
that...
so popular.
Apparently so. I am... Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we will talk more with Aria. Don't go anywhere.
'Cause now I'm back on top of the world. I'm back on top of the world. Yeah, I'm back on top of the world. The world ain't gonna stop me.
Going out, raising my blast off like a rocket, now I'm out of sight. Night sky burns bright like the fire in my eye. In this field, never feeling, just feel so right. I can't stop and I won't quit. We won't stop till we own this. Everybody all across the map, stand up, show the world, yo, where you at? Cause I'll never back down, I can never max out, yeah, I ain't giving up, no. Now I'm back on top and it feels so good, oh yeah, I'm ready to blow. Cause you got one shot to show the whole world, so yeah, let's give them a show. Now I'm back on top, there ain't no stopping me, no.
Back on top of
in the room try to hold me back, but I blast right through. They refuse to connect the dots, no clue as I cruise to the number one spot. I'm coming through, yo, like it or not. I'm here now, and I'm giving this all I got. Cause I'll never back down, I can never max out. Yeah, I ain't giving up, no. Now I'm back on top, and it feels so good. Oh yeah, I'm ready to blow. Cause he got one shot to show the whole world, so yeah, let's give him a show. Now I'm back on top, top. There ain't no stopping me, no.
Back on top of the world. I'm back on top of the world. Yeah, I'm back on top of the world. Yeah, I'm on fire, so put up your lighters, raise them up higher. 'Cause now I'm back on top of the world. And the lighters, raise them up higher. You're gonna stop me now.
Doesn't really matter what they say. Doesn't really matter what they. Doesn't really matter what they say. It feels so good, yeah, I got it made. Doesn't really matter what they say. Doesn't really matter what they say. Yeah, I got it made.
Now I'm back on top of the world. I'm back on top of the world. Yeah, I'm back on top of the world. Yeah, I'm on fire, so put up your lighters.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Squared Circle Podcast here, where we are supporting indie wrestling. We are here with Aria Blake, the ACW Women's Champion. I am not worthy. So we just got done talking about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 happening tonight. Are you going to get a chance to see that tonight there, Aria?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely planning on watching it later.
What matchup are you looking forward to the most?
Ooh, the most. I'm really excited to see Ember Moon debut. Definitely can't wait for that. Really excited for the title match, of course. Nakamura and Joe should be crazy.
Do you think that Asuka versus Bayley is going to be a real, I guess as Jericho would say, a real barn burner?
I think that's going to be another great match, too, for sure. All the women on the show are so talented and so great, and they came from the indies, so I'm really excited to see them work.
Well, the crazy thing is that I remember after the draft, I'm thinking to myself, they lost like a lot of women to this whole draft deal. Where are they going to get another stars? And then last week, all of a sudden, here comes, Nikki Glencross and Daria and Mandy Rose. And I'm like, where have these girls been? I mean, it's just appear out of nowhere. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it's great timing, though.
Great timing, or just one of those moments where it's like, we're running out of people. Let's finally get some of these women up here right now. Let's just get them up here. I'm thinking, okay, this would be interesting. Honestly, with a lot of the women that they have finally put onto the NXT roster, I think Daria, holy cow, as soon as I saw her, I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna be kind of like MMA type deal, I'm guessing. And then she wrestled, and I'm like, oh wow, she's one of those women that could probably knock your head off. Jeez Louise, I think Asuka's gonna have a little bit of competition now.
Yeah, like, I knew that she would be, like, tough, more MMA kind of style, because I think she has that type of background, but I was impressed by her.
She did literally look like she went to MMA, beat down whoever it was, and then just came to WWE just like, see what happens.
Continue the beatdown.
Continue the beatdown. Oh, man. And then also tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, we have SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. Are you going to get a chance to watch that, Aria?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are the matches that you're looking forward to?
Again, really looking forward to the women's match, Sasha and Charlotte. Definitely can't wait for that, especially being that it's back where Sasha had that amazing match last year with Bayley. Excited to see AJ. I don't know, it's just a really great card.
Wait, AJ Styles or AJ Brooks?
AJ Styles.
Okay. I just had to make sure. I would honestly be surprised if AJ Lee makes a comeback. Oh, geez. If she's the mystery partner for Natalia and Alexa Bliss, I'm sure everybody will just be like, my
I would be so happy.
I would honestly probably pass out. I'd be like, my life is just full of questions now. AJ Lee's back in WWE. I can die happy. I'm okay with it.
Right? Me too.
And it could, I don't know if it would be a precursor to CM Punk coming back, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Well, actually, that'd be an interesting subject to talk about. CM Punk, you ever get a chance to see a lot of his matches when he was in WWE?
Oh, for sure. I remember him being like one of my first favorite wrestlers when I started watching, and he still is to this day.
Man, he is just amazing on the mic, whether it be babyface or heel. Holy cow. Straight Edge Society, New Nexus, the whole, I guess, when he came out to Cult of Personality, it's like, geez, this guy is just golden. And again, WWE, where are the ice cream bars?
I know, that was hilarious.
Jeez. But as of late, as far as, wrestling wise, who are some of your favorite wrestlers nowadays?
Nowadays, in WWE or just like overall?
Overall, I'm talking, WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan, everywhere.
Well, Jeff Hardy's my favorite wrestler, and he's still working, so he's definitely still
Brother Nero.
Yeah, Brother Nero. Always has been, always will be. I definitely like Will Ospreay, Ricochet. Cruiserweight Classic has shown me a lot of great workers that I wasn't familiar with before. I'm a big fan of Grand Metalik now. The Young Bucks are amazing. AJ Styles. I don't know, there's so many good people in wrestling these days getting the exposure, so there's so many more names that just come to mind.
Definitely. I think what's also crazy is how, I guess we'll go into the subject, women's wrestling, like you said, has really evolved since, definitely since like 2008, because it was more about the eye candy, but then
Exactly.
you have 4 women who, obviously started this revolution, this true women's revolution. I'm never going to call it the Divas Revolution again.
Okay.
In Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, obviously the 4 horsewomen, and they started a revolution. Ronda Rousey started the revolution for UFC, mixed martial arts, women's division. Do you see yourself making as big of an impact as they have? It's a loaded question, I know.
Absolutely love to. It would be amazing to do what they've been able to do for wrestling and MMA in Ronda's case. So, I mean, if I can do anything even somewhat like that, I could go home happy.
If you can knock out a person in like 10 seconds, then, just happy days.
Oh, yeah. That, I don't know if I can do that. But, I mean, if I could, that'd definitely be cool. I'll work on it.
I honestly now see you just, doing like a backflip or something like that, and in like a matter of 10 seconds, just like, oh, she's out. It's like, it's done. It's like, oh. Well, I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Not exactly my, ideal way of doing it, but still. So, when it comes to high flying, who are probably some guys that you would really like, or women, I should also say, should not be stereotypical, that you would honestly probably really role model yourself after? I mean, some people that I think you would probably really kind of, I think, benefit from would be people like RVD. I think the Brian Kendrick would be another good one. Amazing Red would be just great. There are a lot of high flyers that I could probably name, but who are some people that you would like to really, mold yourself after?
If I could, well, I love Rey Mysterio. I love Lucha Libre. So to do any of the stuff that he's been able to do over the span of his career would be amazing. I wish I had the springy joints of people like Ospreay and Ricochet, because I feel like they just they're flippy.
Right.
I don't know. There's so many good, different high flyers. If I could just, I obviously want to be my own, but if I could just take maybe a little from everybody and learn, that would be awesome.
Do you think we could see the first woman do a 619 soon?
Ooh, I would definitely be up for it.
Might as well call it like the ABA, the Aria Blake attack or what, or something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Well, speaking of Lucha, have you gotten a chance to see Lucha Underground?
I have, yeah.
What do you think about that?
I love it. I think it's such a good idea because it's not your traditional wrestling show with like how WWE is or TNA. It's much more dramatic in their promos and kind of more soap opera-y, but that's what makes it so great and entertaining and unique.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We ended season 2 with Dario. I have to remember that, the difference between Dario and Daria, although, like I said, it would be a killer deal if they somehow, mesh the two together, and it's like, oh, okay, Lucha Underground's going to invade WWE. WWE, make it happen, please.
Oh my gosh, that'd be cool.
Oh, man. What do you think is going to happen with season 3, especially with Dario getting put in handcuffs and being escorted out of the, out of the temple, I should say?
I feel like that's definitely not the last that we'll see of him. I feel like in the upcoming season, like, he has to come back in some capacity.
Right.
They're not just going to be like, oh, yep, that's it. Like, there's going to be some probably interesting story of how he makes his way back in and stuff. And some of the new talent is going to be exciting to see whoever they pick up and who's going to be working their shows.
Who do you think is probably the best, I guess you could say best female element when it comes to Lucha Underground? Who do you think is the top person that comes to mind?
Oh my god, there's Ivelisse and Taya are so good. It's like impossible to pick one, I think.
What do you think about Katrina?
She's good. But it's I'm just like, I'm obsessed watching those two girls work together and do what they do. Katrina, I love that she has her whole kiss of death thing, and I mean, like, she's definitely different from what she was doing as Maxine, so.
Oh, definitely. Honestly, when it comes to wrestling, where do you see yourself about 5-10 years from now?
Oh man, in 5 or 10 years, I definitely want to travel more. Get out of Florida, get out of the States, learn as much as I can. Hopefully, this is just my optimism, I would be working for somewhere on a bigger platform. Give it any of the major companies, what have you. But I would just love the ability to put what I can do out there for the world to see on such a grand stage.
Where would be like the top, maybe like 3 places that you would like to wrestle around the world?
Well, WWE is, of course, my ultimate goal. Women of Honor would be amazing, and say Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground?
Yeah.
Well, let's just take let's take it a step further. We take out every single promotion out of America. That's off limits. Where would be some places that you would be interested in working in?
I definitely want to go to Stardom over in Japan. I know a few girls that have done that. I would love to go down to Mexico, maybe AAA. Really anywhere down there. That honestly, I just love Lucha. And then another place outside of America. Maybe Progress over in England.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about what is it? I think it's ICW. I think it's Insane Championship Wrestling. What do you think about them?
I honestly haven't watched too much of it.
Okay.
Gonna work on that now.
It's like now you know about.
I've seen just short things on YouTube and stuff, but I haven't watched a ton of it compared to other places.
Oh well. I mean, there's some independent wrestling organizations that need a little more credit than I think people really give them. I think Evolve, Progress, New Japan, so many of these other outside companies that you realize don't even exist, and it's like, wow, they're putting on this kind of a matchup. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But all right, so we got about maybe a couple minutes before we will probably wrap it up. Let me ask this one question. I know it's probably going to be the biggest loaded question that you could possibly get. When you look back on your career and you have everything said and done, and you feel like you've accomplished everything that you wanted to accomplish, what is the one thing that you want to stand out in everybody's mind when they think of Aria Blake?
I want to be known for, I guess, just proving people wrong. And I say that because I am definitely one of the smaller girls, and it's very rare that I even come across an opponent like near my size. So people look at me and they doubt that, oh, I can't do anything in the ring, or, oh, I'm just, somebody's manager or somebody's girlfriend hanging out at the show.
Okay.
So I want them to, I don't want them to doubt me, of course, but I mean, it's natural, and I just really want to just prove everybody wrong and show them what I can do, show them I can do it just as well as anybody else, if not maybe even better.
That's a very deep answer, and honestly, it's great. I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time that I've actually, talked with Aria, and first time we've actually done an interview together. Honestly, Aria, I will say this, and I'll give you the best constructive criticism that I can. Do what you're doing, because I think you're doing a tremendous job. Definitely continue working on adaptability, learning other ways, because I think that is definitely going to make you one of the, if not the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And I'm sorry, Trish and Lita, I'm sorry, but at the same time, you gotta realize that you can only hold that podium for so long until somebody else comes and is like, yeah, you kind of fell a little subpar there. But honestly, I think that, again, great person, Aria Blake. She is indeed very, very nice. She's very professional. I think that, just remember to keep that mentality, because I know a lot of people, when they get wrapped up in fame, they turn into a completely different person. Do not lose that sweet side of you, because I think that is the best thing that you could have in this wrestling business today.
Aw, thanks. I appreciate it.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the interview with Aria Blake. Thank you so much for being here on the show.
Thank you again for having me. It was totally fun.
If you guys want, check her out at American Combat Wrestling, you guys. This has been Nate the Great for SummerSlam Series. We are going to be heading out, and be sure to tune in to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 tonight, where the main event is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe, and SummerSlam tomorrow, where the main event it's a clear-cut tie between Lesnar and Orton and Balor and Rollins. But you know something? Either way, it's going to be a great day for wrestling. So this has been Nate the Great for the Squared Circle Podcast. We will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.